Hello, everyone, and welcome to another other episode of Two Tutors Talking. I am your lovely host, Audrey Codner, and I am the CEO of ACG Math Tutoring, as well as expanding over to being a tutor mentor for my You Can Tutor membership. So I just wanted to introduce you to another great tutor. If you are someone that's looking for a tutor that's elementary and someone that's going to be caring and fun and festive, this is the person for you. Okay. So buckle in, sit down, and be ready to learn so much from my great host, or my great guest, I should say, Miss Michelle Faciana. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. And you nailed it. Faciana. Perfect.
Because I was thinking Faci, and every time I'm
Fassi.
doing it. Well, welcome to Two Tutors Talking. And if anything, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Michelle Faciana. I am an online math tutor. I mostly do grades 3 through pre-algebra, but my youngest student right now is 7. My oldest student right now is 16. And I have 5 algebra students right now. So, there's a range. I've been tutoring for like 20 years.
Oh,
um,
wow. Yeah.
but I moved everything online after COVID hit. Um, I was in the classroom for 16 years at the same school, and I also worked in technology. So when COVID hit, in a matter of, split second, we had to move everything online. And I found I really loved it. So, yeah, I tutor kids from California to South Carolina. Um, and like I said, I was in the classroom for 16 years. Currently in Ohio, I've written a children's book. Fun facts. Um,
Nice.
Look at that. Snickers Day out. And
Right.
another fun fact is I did 5 schools in 5 years from 5th grade to 9th grade. So a little bit of shifting around, and I can kind of
Right.
connect that to my students for, when they're coming and going from certain places too. So
And that's great because now you have that special connection because you'll get kids and sometimes you don't know what their backgrounds or what is coming along and you're thinking that hey, we're tutoring, and next thing you know, when they start getting comfortable, you're getting comfortable, next thing you know, they're like, this is my third school and I don't have any friends. Well, let me tell you,
right.
I've been to 5 different schools, so I know how to associate. And that's what really is also about tutoring because we get to connect with kids not only right next door, but all around. And at the same time, we get different personalities, different styles, different levels, and we're just basically building the world up piece by piece or child by child. That's awesome. Now, what is it that you're noticing with like a lot of the students that are coming to you? What are you seeing that may be missing or what's happening?
So I would say um, mostly what's happening is working on that confidence where they're coming in and they're either um, fighting with their parents at home about the topic of math, and it really comes down to a matter of, it's not that they're like angry at the parent or anything like that, it's just that their frustration with not understanding is coming out as anger, or it's coming out as defiance or something like that. So when we come together, sometimes a parent might be like, oh, they might have a little attitude, with you about it. And I'm like, that's not an issue. Like,
Right.
first session, we just interview each other. The first session, like the first half of it, like we don't even talk math the first like 20 minutes. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about math. And they're, wait, what? I'm like, nope, no math talk. I just want to know what your favorite animal is and your favorite candy. Like, this is like a stranger danger. This is weird, right? Like,
Right.
we're told all these years, don't talk to strangers on technology. And then your parent just set you up on the computer with me. so we interview first. They need to get to know me. They have to get comfortable with me. And then helping them get over when the parents are like, they just say, I don't know. They won't even try. They just shut down. Giving them that opportunity to say that to me allows me to say, oh, but I do know that you know. So you know what? If you need a moment, I'm just going to be over here. I'm just going to be writing some things down. You think about it. Let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And just giving that chance of, I'm not frustrated with them. I don't, this is our time. Let's talk through it. And then the other things that I'm noticing, like one more thing would be anxieties. Parents are like, my kid, they get so nervous if they have a test,
Mm-hmm.
or they won't participate in class. They won't talk to the teacher. They just shut down. They don't want to discuss it. I've dealt with many kids who have dealt with anxiety, and working through having those conversations, helping them understand baby steps, how to ask somebody for help, whether it's at school or home, because I work with homeschooling families too. And just how to find those words and find the language and understand their feelings of what's happening.
And that's so important. And I think a lot of people, especially the kids, and you have them at the younger age, like this is that foundational piece. Like I have the older ones, and still they just don't want to be wrong. It's
Oh,
almost like they are so afraid of being wrong because I think we slowly started training them that way. Like you need to know the answer just like this, really quick. If you don't know it that quickly, you're not smart.
yeah.
And I think they learned that.
Yeah, practicing that during our sessions is key. So I'll ask them a question, like, I don't know. And I'm like, then give me a wrong answer. It's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just want you to practice saying something that's wrong. Like, I just want you to practice how that feels, having something wrong come out of your mouth and seeing that, like, I'm not reacting. It's okay, and because I mean, think about, we practice what, fire drills in school, right? It's like, so that if something happens, your body just knows what to do. So like, say something wrong to me, so that way your body knows what to do when that happens.
Right.
You're
Right.
okay. It's all right. I bet some other people had it wrong also.
Right.
Things like that.
It's always like the day one. I've always remember when I was in the classroom, the first day that we're learning it, everybody's like, "Ugh." And I'm like, why? Were you born knowing this? And they're like, no. Why are you expecting me to know it on day one? Why? Why are you stressing yourself out? And like when we talk to them,
Yeah.
because I think when kids go through their day, they're talked to, you have to do this, you need to go do this, sit down, do this, blah, 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 all day. And you're probably the first person that said, how was your day?
Yeah.
How are you feeling today?
First
Probably
question
the only
every
person
time.
all day, right?
Yeah.
So not to get all teary eyed and everything, but this is the truth. That's why it's nice when you bring someone in, like parents, as you're watching this, as you're bringing someone in, they're not just tutoring your child the math, the English, the science. You're actually having that person be almost like a translator to the parent, I mean, to the teacher, as well as being that supporter to the child,
That
right?
that reminds me, because I have a parent who's their child's school, they don't do like ABCs, like those grades, they have like different
Mhm.
scales. And the teacher was like, sent me something from the teacher, and the parent was like, can you translate this for me? And I was like, of course, because communication's key. Like, if the teacher tells the parent something and the parent can tell me, from being a classroom teacher, like, I can understand, I can decipher some things and help the parent get what's going, because teachers, they're sugarcoating. There is, I'm not saying they are, I'm saying there is sugarcoating that's happening. And when I, as a tutor, I give feedback after every session. I type a little note to the parents after we meet and I say, oh, this is the topics we did. Just real bluntly, just real quick. Here's what we did. Here's how I think it's going. Just to kind of let
Mhm.
them, and I don't sugarcoat it. It's just plain English. Ask me questions if you have them. I'm here
Right.
for you. I'm not going to use I'm just going to tell you like it is. So,
Exactly. And I think that's what a lot of parents value that because they don't know. Um, and especially anyone in our special education population, like they probably like, we've never had special ed in our family. I've had a couple families that will say that. I don't know what this IEP is saying. Can you help me out with that? Not a problem. And I'm like, well, this is what they need to do for math, and this is how they can support it. And I need for you to email the teacher because this part wasn't supported. And they're like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah, do you need me to go to an IEP meeting? No? Okay. Well, just let me know. You want me to type something up? No, you're good. Okay. But to have that person not only to help the child, but also to help the parent, it just like I know it's the above and beyond. So that's almost like into the next question, which is how do we make ourselves unique? There we go.
yeah, I like to offer that just bluntness. Like, I'm not gonna feel like, oh, they have so much energy. No, they're having a hard time focusing. We're gonna
Right.
talk. We're gonna talk about ways that we can adjust this and how it's gonna go. I'll have parents ask me, so because it's Zoom, kids are all over the place, right? Whether
Mhm.
they're in their house, whether they're at grandma's, whether they're on vacation, whether they're a traveling family and they just
Mhm.
tutor on the road. Um,
Mhm.
Sometimes they're in their living room. Sometimes, like the older kids, they could just take the laptop to a room away from everybody, and we can do it. And the parents are like, "How'd they do concentrating in there today? Was like, how was it?" And I'm like, this room's better than that room. Like,
Right.
let's talk.
Right.
Let's do
Right.
it.
I
Yes.
know. Communication is huge. Is there any changes? Is there any, you know, I've had parents or I had students that, they lost a classmate and then I didn't know, but at least when the parent contacts me, I just want to let you know that this is happening. So just in case he's a little off, I'm like, all right, not a problem. Thank you.
Yep.
Because I don't want to say something that will spark something and then all of a sudden it just becomes a whole mess, but it's communication is a key. Like I live in Maryland. I don't know what's going on in Canada or I don't know what's going on in Alaska. Like, oh, okay, it snowed really bad that,
Yep.
our power went out.
Yep.
Okay, let's make the adjustments. But
Yep.
being blunt and being honest and having that communication is huge. Very huge.
And then the parents appreciate it because they're just like, I don't understand some of these things coming home. And I was like, well, you know, they seem to do better. Like this fidgets, the things that the kids hold in their hands to help them focus and concentrate. Just trying to decipher also the difference between a fidget and a toy. The fidget helps
Mm,
your brain focus, the toy distracts. And so, talking to the parents, sometimes one of my students really benefits from fidgets. They do, they totally do. But sometimes there's a better choice of a fidget than another. And I might just mention that. I think that this one helps them focus more. Okay, great, thanks. Check. A short text to each other if we need it, the emails when they need me. But communication, yes, total key.
it's
Mm-hmm.
really huge. So now before we even get started, now, like, what are some of the things that parents kind of need to look for to either like to get a tutor? Like, what are some of the things that, like, all right, my child needs a tutor? What do you think are some of the parents that should look for?
So they're looking for tutors. That question can kind of go two different ways, I feel like.
Mhm.
So like one way would be like, how do I know when my child needs a tutor? So
Mhm.
if your child, the school children, a lot of times, obviously, the number one is like their grades aren't good. It's like, oh, okay, there's a disconnect here. But it's not always grade driven. And I remind parents that too. It's not always about getting an A. You can try your hardest and you might not get an A, but are you improving? Are you understanding? Do you have a better relationship with math now? That's huge. Like,
It's huge.
I mean, I have one homeschool family where the parent and child it was constant tears. And somebody had recommended me from Facebook for this family. It was like a total roundabout way, because, Facebook groups is a good way to connect, and try to find a tutor. You can go on there and ask other families, for suggestions. But that parent, after like 2 months, they were like, they haven't cried about math in weeks. Like, they're like, okay, right. Like, we practice during our sessions how to handle, like, if you get flustered. And the parent was like, they're doing it themselves now. They're doing it. So if you're seeing that your kid's really flustered about the topic of math, if they get really anxious or angry about it when it's happening, those are all signs. Here's one.
Okay.
If they complain about their teacher a lot, now it might not be a teacher, like sometimes you're going to click with a teacher. Sometimes you're not going to click with a teacher, but we all know that kids, there's something about that teacher relationship that when the kid likes the teacher, they're more open to taking in information.
Sure.
So if they're complaining about their teacher, a tutor will give them an opportunity to connect with somebody that they can just kind of talk about what's happening. So sometimes
it's more
kids
like that translation. Like,
right,
this is what the teacher's really trying to say. Oh, so why didn't they say that? I'm not there. That's why we're here together. That'll
and
be great.
and some like my pre-algebra and algebra students, I help them learn how to communicate with that teacher that they're having a hard time with, giving them suggestions on what they can do. Oh, your teacher doesn't like interruptions. Okay, jot down what you're thinking on a Post-it note, and when it's the right time, you'll have your question and you won't forget it. It just helping the kids through that also. And then to find a tutor, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Your family friends might know of somebody, the different groups, maybe your library. My library doesn't allow advertisements, but maybe yours does.
No, not ours.
There's different message boards around, like your town, in different places. Somebody might post something. So many ways.
And that's why we're doing Two Tutors Talking, because a lot of parents are like, I don't know where to go. And this is the main reason why we do this, is so you get to meet tutors from all over the world. You can get someone that's either right down the street, or you can get someone that's in another country. But especially for math is universal. So it's like, it's a language in its own. But because of things like this, like you mentioned, the community boards in like your local cafes or even supermarkets, some of them have them, or even Panera Bread, while you're waiting for your food. Sometimes it's right there. I've
Bread.
gotten some, right? Oh my God, the bread.
Sorry, distracted.
And then I've gotten students from their parents saw me at my local barbecue pit place, and another one at a sushi restaurant. I mean, just keep your eyes. I know, like, I got a lot from that sushi restaurant. I need to like invest in them real quick. But those are the things, like, taking advantage. It's great that you're listening, but this is why we're here for today. And if anything, what are some upcoming attractions for you, Michelle?
So right now, I'm in a place where I opened up a few more spots for homeschool families in the morning. So I do have some availability to help out those daytime hours. I'm Eastern time. I live in Ohio. got to went to Ohio State University, got my bachelor's early childhood development and my master's in early education. So I have my homeschool family openings in the morning. I do have 2 evening spots available right now also.
Okay.
And then I tutor all year. I have tons of families in the summer that continue because they don't want their kid to get rusty. They're like, oh, my kid made so much progress this year. Like, I don't want them to lose it. So, just an hour a week, just that little bit for that quick reminder. Parents have really appreciated that time in the summer. Um, and then the kids, too, when we are going back to school, they're like, gosh, I'm not worried about starting math. Like, I'm usually worried. And like, I don't have to think about that. Like I'm ready. So just staying fresh. So I'll start posting about getting on like a wait list and getting on my list for summer sessions as well for families to help them out too.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So if you guys want to know how to reach Michelle and to be a part of this greatness of breaking concepts down and not only just doing the math, but also like it sounds like a little bit like organizational skills,
Yeah.
a little bit of like motivation. I'm here to pump you up and also information, not only for your child, but also for you. So we have a couple of them. One was you mentioned earlier about Instagram. So if you go into Instagram, we also have a Facebook and also LinkedIn are like the two major ones. And I will be on the replay. I will put down her contact page so you can actually contact her directly just so you can get some more information, figure out if maybe one of those open slots will be perfect for you to go and to take advantage of this because it doesn't matter how long you wait. It's not going to change it. The whole thing with the whole pandemic gap, it's real. So it's real. And unfortunately, we have to work double time. And if your child says, I feel like everything is going fast, guess what? They're not lying. The whole curriculums are seem to be picking up quite a bit because we're trying to make up for what happened during the pandemic, which doesn't make sense. And that's another issue in itself. Um, but for the most part, this is what we're doing for Two Tutors Talking. When you have like two great people that's connecting and for you to get the information and to apply it. So again, I would love to thank Michelle. Thank you so much, Michelle, for coming in and just blessing us with your time and your attention. And hopefully people are going to be like, yes, let me get her right now. Yes, of course. And then she also has a book, which I'm going to put the plug of the book in there. Definitely. It's such a cute book, guys. It's on Amazon. Come on, buy it. Stop being crazy. All right. So, again, thank you so much for being here and coming for Two Tutors Talking. Just stay tuned for more tutors and more resources and more advice. Continue to be awesome, and I'll see you guys.